Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. Adiyat, chapter Adiyat, and we studied the verse 1 last week. And is there anyone who will be interested in summarizing what we said briefly last week? You can do it, yeah.
So I guess we studied the verse, by the war horses which run swiftly to the battle with a panting noise. My understanding, to summarize it, was that basically in that verse, when I contradict or conflict with my reality or what is inherently true within my nature or even what I perceive outside of my own existence, if I conflict or contradict that, I'm in a battle-like situation where I get to be, or I guess I am the war horse, which is experiencing, I guess, challenges, hurdles, exhaustion, if you will, in trying to essentially like fight against what's true. So it's something which is very relatable in that sense, which is if I contradict my reality, I will experience this battle. And that battle is primarily something which happens within myself. It's not me against the world. It's basically within me or within my understanding. There are these two conflicting ideas or thoughts or ideologies.
If there is a conflict between what your egoistic desires want and what your conscience reminds you, what do you do if there's a conflict? So do you just shut that up, or
what do I do personally, or what am I supposed to do as a human being?
No, what you are supposed to do as a human being in general, of course, not personal.
Well, I would say what seems fair is to question both the perspectives, because you don't essentially just know which one is an egoistic perspective versus which one is a more conscious perspective. So you question whatever it is that you're experiencing. Try to understand what is true versus what is the result of the result of my manipulation. And then you get to have a better sense of which one of these ideas is more egoistical versus what is within my own consciousness to acknowledge or to affirm. And in that case, you're supposed to, or I guess what feels right in that moment is to listen to your consciousness as opposed to abide by the egoistical approach.
I have two questions. Am I free to choose between my conscience within myself, that I am endowed with this consciousness? Am I free to choose it, or is there any way, I'll combine the two questions, is there any way that I may think in reality, not made up excuses, in reality, I may think that this is true Or this is not true. I am right. My egoistic desires, we call it egoistic desires by definition. Someone may say that no, it's not the egoistic desires. It is my reality. Is it so? What is the function of free will there? So I am free. Am I free to go against myself, my own reality?
Yes.
Am I free to go against my own reality? What my conscience reminds you?
You are free. Yes.
I don't have to follow it.
You don't have to follow it. No.
No. So I am free not to follow it. If I don't want to follow it, what do? Come up with
Your own.
justifying excuses, trying to make up that your desires, your egoistic desires, are right.
Mhm. Yes.
Correct?
Correct.
So this is what free will functions there. So do you think, is there any way for a person not to be aware of what he is doing right or wrong?
To not be aware?
Yeah.
No. I mean, there's no wisdom in not being aware.
Yeah, there is no way for a person not to be aware of whether he's following his own egoistic desires, caprices, or that we are free. You said we are free to choose. But I'm not aware that I'm following my ego.
So
Is it possible?
yeah. I think if you don't question, then yes.
No. In our creation, in our reality, but even not questioning is a choice as well. Do you agree?
Yes.
Do we agree? Not questioning is a choice as well. Why? Why do you think? It's simple. The answer is simple. But why do you think we don't want to question? We don't want to face our reality. That's why we pretend to be ignorant of it. But in fact, deep down, we should know.
Okay.
I just wanted to say, I mean, I can, to the extent that I experience my own self and my own feelings and my own conscience, I can confirm or conclude that no, it's not possible for me to not be aware of whether I'm, something that I'm doing aligns with what I see as right, to the extent that I engage in self-honesty. But I mean, again, that is to the extent of how much I've experienced life. I mean, I don't know if I can say decisively that it's applicable for everyone else, or if there is a point of self-ignorance or self-delusion that leads one to being unaware of whether something that they are doing goes against their conscience. So I guess I'm hesitant to speak about it in overarching terms, right? I mean, after all, I can only know that, at least for myself, it's not possible for me to not be aware of whether something I'm doing runs contrary to the conscience that I find in myself.
So it is not possible that we
to the extent that for me.
Yeah.
I don't know about others.
No. In human nature, is it possible that a person, may not be aware really that what he is or she is choosing is wrong? Is it possible?
Again, to the extent that I experience being a human, no.
You say no. Is there anyone who says yes, it is possible that a human being, a person, may not be aware that what he is doing, but really not pretending to be ignorant of it, or looking after the justification, choosing a way to justify, then this person may think that this is right, what I'm choosing is right, although he's following his ego. But in fact, is it possible that this man, any man in his creation, in any person in his or her creation, that not possible, maybe not possible, not to be aware of it, unless children or biologically ill? You are saying no. Do you understand my question? I don't make it clear. Unless you are a child or you are biologically ill, there is no way that one may not be aware of what he has chosen is really wrong. Anyone? No? Okay.
I have a very related question. So, in the past, and I guess even now, we normally differentiate between potential and capacity. To summarize, for I guess for others, potential would be something that is possible, yet I have not discovered or made the attempt to make it a reality for me.
But what we are not talking about knowledge. We are
Yes.
not talking about developing one's capacity and turning it into
Potential into
developing one's potentiality into capacity. We are not talking about it. We are just talking about what I am doing is right or wrong. But we have to understand only a person who declares that I am a Muslim, he is right. Otherwise, he will be wrong. Otherwise, he will be wrong. Can we say this?
No.
He said no. A person doesn't identify himself or herself with Islam, may be right or wrong?
Yes.
Yes. Say yes, yes. Anybody? Definitely, if someone doesn't follow Islam, he or she will be wrong. Can we say this?
I mean, what
By
do you
definition,
mean by following
sorry?
Islam? What do you
Yeah.
mean by following
By
Islam?
definition, what is Islam?
Yeah.
Submitting to the order.
Sorry?
Submitting
Submitting?
to the order,
Order of?
the creator
Where?
in our universe. I mean, in our
How
reality.
about yourself? We are just studying myself now. Submitting to the order in your creation. That is Islam.
Yes.
That's why some aware, conscious scholars described Islam as supreme, pure humanity. That's Islam. In the human conscience cannot contradict Islam or God's creation, God's revelation, speech, guidance cannot contradict human conscience. Otherwise, it would be contradiction. My creator is offering me something which I cannot comprehend and I cannot confirm from my own reality as I am created. Do you understand this? That we are not using the titles. No, we are not using the etiquette, or how do you say?
Name tags.
Sorry?
The dogmas.
Name tags. That I am a Muslim, I am saved. I am an atheist, I am not saved. No. But everybody, not the information is different. That information needs practical things. You will be aware of the details of what your conscience is transferring to you. Otherwise, basically, everybody should know that I am created, I am made, I have a maker, I must have a maker, and this world cannot be the ultimate purpose in my existence, since my maker has given me much larger
Ambitions.
expectations, okay, or potentiality, larger than the universe, infinite potentiality. So whoever made me must make me live or remain in existence infinitely. Because that's my desire. He has given me, whoever me.
But I guess the point that I was going to get at was that's a conclusion that you have to get to. In order to get to this conclusion, like no one just knows this. It's not just in your consciousness day one. You have to reason, question, literally discover this reality.
Okay, reasoning, questioning, literally discovering this reality is within me. Not necessarily the capacity. No, the potentiality. Potentially, I am able to do that.
Yes. So now going back to your question where you said, is it possible for a person to not be aware of, I guess, what's within their consciousness? My question was going to be, potentially it's not possible. It's there in everyone. As far as the capacity of an individual goes, that's dependent on how far do they question it.
Okay, but these are interesting subjects. Do I have to know what my reality is only after if I work on it? Who works on his conscience? Conscience is there already.
You have to expose it. Like, what does that question mean if you were to put it in form of an example? Like, do I need to work on my consciousness? I think yes. Like, you have to apply it. Your consciousness doesn't just sit in a silo. It's constantly sitting in this reality.
And the subject is becoming more delicate and subtle and subtle. Now, in order to answer this, or in order to clarify this point, we have to go back. Did you notice that we have never referred to, in this dialogue, we have never referred to revelation, prophetic missions? Yeah, we didn't. So why do you think the prophetic mission is there? For revelation, God speaks to human beings. Since we are self-sufficient in understanding our capacity, our reality.
Teach.
To teach?
Who you are.
Explain, practically apply or demonstrate the revelation.
No, let the potentiality come out and become more apparent so that you can convince yourself. For example, there are some institutions, they help, for example, people who are smoke addicted or drug addicted to quit them. Don't the people know that they should quit? Yes or no?
They do.
Yeah. But they cannot do it because they have weakness in their free will. So the other people help them, but they know that what they are doing is what?
Not good for themselves.
Not good for themselves. They shouldn't do it. But they can, not because they cannot manage, because they don't work on themselves. They need somebody else to help them to quit. Do you see the same thing as God reveals the guidance to human beings to help them, to discover themselves, to uncover themselves, uncover what their conscience offers them, help them. So it is a help. That's why, for example, the revelation in terms of the Quran describes itself what? It is a guide. It is a guide. Guide to where?
For yourself.
To your own reality. Do you get it? To your own reality. Guiding you to understand your own reality. But your own reality is already there. We have to understand it. No one has any excuse. No one has any excuse to say that, oh, I didn't know that I was made. I am created. Is it possible? Because I was ignorant, I didn't know, I didn't go in school. Is it possible?
I think you mentioned that everyone has a conscience. So
Yeah.
everyone deep down inside knows, but we struggle with it.
Yeah.
And that's why there's that battle within. Because we're struggling with the order.
Yeah. Actually, we are struggling within ourselves, with ourselves. Now, why? Because my ego, I am free to choose, but my ego offers something. And if I am not resolute, decisive, then I follow the ego's whisperings, not to listen to conscience and try to justify it. But that is why the Quran clearly says that you know what you are doing, but you come up with some excuses to justify it. It's a clear verse in the Quran. If you are interested, then you can read the chapter 75. Yeah. But the Quran is a help, guide, as if treatment center. Those people who are drug addicted, only who goes to these treatment centers?
People who realize their problem
And prefer use their free will to
help themselves.
And follow the truth. Right?
Mhm.
So only those people who want to be strong in following their conscience listen to the prophet message. Do you get it? But after listening to after listening to the prophetic message, they get the support because they wanted to get the support. Now, when you want something, your creator helps you. That is, even if, for example, think about the other way around. You want something, but your creator doesn't help you. Is it possible?
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
Your creator mercy.
No,
His
yeah.
mercy is everywhere. You know, his mercy encompasses everything. What does it mean? Everywhere. You see, for example, whether you are a believer or non-believer, do you get air? Do you get water? Do you get food, shelter if you work for it? Everybody is treated equally before the treatment of God. But some people want it, some people don't. Those people want it, get the treatment through the revelation, is that help. Long ago, some people may remember that we said, from the creation point of view, revelation is bonus, extra. Do you remember? Why? For example, for a person who wants to quit drug addiction, right? If he wants to get strength to apply his free will to decide and not to take it. It is in there. But the institutions organized by the city or something, some community organizations, whatever. Because they want it, they go there. And they get help. But through the help that they get, they don't get any extra thing than what their conscience know that they are harming themselves. Just help. If you need help, your creator provides you a means. That means, by definition, God's mercy encompasses everything with no exception. If God's mercy is lacking in somehow, in somewhere, it means God's mercy or God is not absolute. The creator is not absolute. But your creator, with your creation, witnesses that your creator is, must be absolute. You are perfectly arranged. We have to understand all this. Now, one point is left now. Inshallah. Then it will help us to go further a bit faster, hopefully, inshallah. How about those people who attack the truth within themselves so that they choose to attack the truth presented by others?
Can you define what you mean by attack?
They, for example, they want to destroy them. The Quran says they want to kill the prophets, for example. They want to kill the messages. Why do you think? All those people who follow the message, they declare their enmity towards them, don't they? They attack. We say, why bother? If you don't believe in God, if you don't believe the absolute truth exists, so why bother then?
Is it because they it kind of makes their conscious notice and understand that they're wrong, so it makes it more difficult for them to make excuses and have a battle with their conscience when they see other people saying things that kind of agree with their conscience.
And they want to get support their egoistic preferences, right? If they see that there is an obvious evidence out there, that's why they want the believers to be wrong, if you like. Why do they do that? For example, if you see that people study Islam, non-Muslims, study Islam in order to show the faults in the Muslim community. But they sometimes claim that the Quran is also presenting to mankind something wrong. That's a playing words. They cannot prove it. And also, when they come up with an idea to deny the fundamental belief system that the prophetic mission or the prophetic messages teach us, what they do, they just try to find out excuses. We are going to come there. They just try to find out excuses to reject them, but they can never prove what they are claiming. They can never prove it. We know that, okay, we have to go further, then it will be dealt with in the following verses now. The second verse is, who's going to read it? Maybe Murad can read the Arabic one and somebody else can read the English.
الموريات قدحا.
Yeah, Muriyat Qatha. Yeah. Yeah. What does it do? What do you understand from Muriyat Qatha? What does it mean in translation? Somebody quickly, slowly.
And
No.
by those which strike fire by dashing their hoofs against the stones.
Now, we are not going to study the word. So if you like, I can tell, it's written here. I can tell you which word means what, which kind of variations they have in their meaning, but literally doesn't really mean. What it says, by those which strike fire. It means by the war horses. Another thing that we will notice here, all the by, or consider comes from the word fe. These are important. It means when the verse uses Adiyat, for example, by the war horses. What does it mean? Consider the war horses. We said the war horses are what? Our egoistic ambitions, desires. They're the war horses now. Within ourselves, maybe in the communities, the believing community and non-believing communities, war horse is not the battlefield. Not the battlefield is completely different. So even the believers, I'm jumping from one point to another, but we have to mention, for example, there is a physical war between believers and non-believers. Physical war. Non-believers, first of all, the believers don't attack the non-believers. If they do, it is against the conscience. No, I can attack only ideologically. It means presenting my thoughts, my ideas, not physically, because it is against human nature. Killing a physical body doesn't help you overcome unbelief. You killed one person, but it doesn't mean that you killed unbelief. You killed unbeliever, but you didn't kill unbelief. As long as you don't kill unbelief, killing one or two unbeliever doesn't help you. That's why in the Quranic teaching, very exceptional people, I don't know which kind of psychology they have, they say in Islam, offensive war also exists in the Quran. I don't think I'm studying, I don't see, it is contradictory. Offensive war, killing somebody. What am I going to do by killing a person? What am I going to gain? Yep.
I remember our discussion last week where you said people who attack are usually feeling insecure about their own beliefs, because if they are secure, they don't feel the need to attack other people or attack other people's beliefs.
So, translation, people who feel secure would not feel the need to attack.
Yeah.
So people who would attack are the people that feel insecure.
Perfect comment. Because if someone feels secure in his belief, don't attack. That's why offensive war is fundamentally contradictory to the teachings of God's guidance. But defensive war in the worldly terms, necessary. If someone attacks you, why do you lock your door at night or daytime? If someone attacks you to take your possessions, for example, why do you defend? Offend or defensive. Defense is human nature within the conditions of this world. Offense is not. So defensive war is when it is necessary. If there is a defensive war, now it is legitimate. It is human. Human conscience says defend yourself against any attack physically. How about somebody attacks your belief? Okay, belief, not your body. So you have to defend your belief. That is right. And if someone attacks your body, you have to defend your body as well. Does it make sense? Now, in the defensive war, believers also use horses. If you understand it physically, most of the people understood this as a physical description. I don't. It doesn't make sense to me. But even if it was wrong, because by those which strike fire, it could have been a believer's horse in the battlefield. Very eager, yeah, and strike fire. So it doesn't have to be a negative description. It may be a believer's horse do the same thing. Do you think if I go on if a believer rides a horse, it will be soft, calm in the battlefield? It's contradictory. They also train the horses as to get ready for the battlefield. So it is, if we understand this as a physical description, we contradict ourselves. So it is impossible. It is impossible to think of it in terms of physical war conditions or physical war horses. Do you understand this? If someone is not clear, we can talk about it.
I'm unclear about the
Yeah.
striking fire. So
So-
striking fire.
Yeah.
So are in my defense,
Mm.
I mean, you were saying in the war field, right? Both the offensive and the defensive can strike fire by nature of what is going on.
Yeah, but in physical terms.
In physical terms,
Yeah.
correct. So in non-physical terms, I mean, how am I to understand striking fire if I'm
Now, striking fire becomes a kind of allegory.
Mhm.
So what does it mean? With furious attempt, trying to attack from one way or another with no hesitation, tries his or her best to attack, not only dashing their hoofs against the stones, means trying to make it somehow furious. For example, I will give you, if you accept or not, I will give you a practical example of our age. Why do you think in this science field, especially in biology, or even in physics or chemistry, if a scientist makes the lab researchers finds how the order of the universe works, yeah, tries to find out the best explanation of the order, but this scientist doesn't interpret it in a materialistic way. It says, I am not studying nature, I am studying the order in the creation. But they do the same thing. But you call it metaphysical side of it, you call it theological side of it, some people call it philosophical side of it. Your interpretation is different. But what you are doing the same thing, what you are discovering the same thing, yeah, for example, how certain conditions act or is out there in the lab. But instead of saying it is natural, somebody says it is designed in this way. What happens? Can you say? If you are a biologist, professor, can you speak in this way in the class? Saying that this is the order established. And we are studying the order. And by studying the order, we are discovering the quality of the orderer. What happens? Don't you know what happens to this man?
You'll get criticized for bringing in
No
religion.
criticize, fired. Criticize is a very, very soft language. You will be fired, and then your title as a professor will be taken away from you. Don't you see that strike? Why? They cannot defend logically consistent way of explaining the materialistic interpretation of the world, the order of the universe, how it works. They cannot stand. They are furious. Not only one of them. Definitely, your paper will not be published. Sure. Impossible. That's what in America. That the one in Europe as well. That's impossible. Secondly, you will be fired from your position. You will lose your job. Why? If they were really confident, they will say, what you are saying is wrong. It doesn't make logical sense. It is not how do you say? Sensical? It is reasonable.
Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Here is the truth they cannot defend. That we are studying the order of the universe, and this order is the result of a conscious choice. Cannot happen by itself, cannot come into existence by itself. That's so simple. Logically impossible. No one can say that anything came into existence by itself. It is logically inconsistent. But I made myself, the thing made itself. Something didn't exist. Cannot make itself exist. So simple. They cannot defend. They are so weak. What they do now in the battlefield of, not physical now, ideology, they take this horse within themselves, driving them to a furious defense because they cannot calmly explain what they claim to be true. They cannot.
It reminds me of like the ex-Muslim groups that I see online. People who live Islam and then they start groups and they start debating Muslims on the internet.
That's a different case.
Different?
Yeah, but no, we have to be very careful. For those people who say that I was a Muslim and now I am not Muslim anymore, they are right.
But why the need to like debate Muslims?
No, they are right. I agree with them. I sympathize them. You know why? They don't reject Islam. They reject their parents' traditional way of presenting and imposing their tradition on them in the name of religion. So we have to understand them. We have to welcome them. You are right, because the way they are treated by their mostly ignorant people, the worldly people, they exploit religion in order to fulfill their in order to implement their tradition on their children. And they have no reason why they claim to be Christian or Muslim, and they cannot really explain why they are Muslim, why they are Christian. They cannot. So every young generation questions. If someone questions but doesn't really choose to emphasize on it and investigate it, he or she agrees by herself that this is the way I have to follow. Yeah. Or how did they say? Go with the flow. Okay. So they get married as their father and mother want, and they have the celebrations as they find in their tradition, culture, and okay, no problem. Everybody agrees, and there's no attack. Careful. There's no attack. Oh, comfortable. Life is comfortable. They choose this way. And then what happens? It becomes their preference. And also it becomes a kind of addiction, habit. Follow the tradition. Don't contradict. Don't put yourself in trouble. Everybody will attack you. The exception is the prophets. Everybody attacks prophets, and they never give in. They never follow the tradition. Right? If the tradition was right, there would be no prophet. So we have done that's a different case.
I mean, I understand that, but I also know of Christians who've left their religion, but they don't start an ex-Christian group.
Doesn't matter, ex-Christian, ex-Islam, Muslim group. There are ex-Muslim group as well, going putting their pictures, standing in front of Kaaba doing prayer, and they say, I am a proud of atheist. Why? It's so meaningless, don't you know that? They say, because his or her parents brought them to Mecca, expecting that those Kaaba stones will affect them and make them a believer. Isn't that idiotic? Of course it doesn't make sense. And this person is right. I would say congratulations, because you are rejecting something wrong. And to reject something wrong is
Right.
right. You are doing something right. But when you embrace them, when you don't reject them, don't attack, embrace them, saying that, look, you are really right. Yeah, come to our class. So we welcome you. We congratulate you. Those people who are not aware of what they believe really is true or not, and never question it, is the worst one. I think if you carefully study the verses in the Quran, analyzes the psychology of hypocrites, falls there. Yeah, so hypocrisy is worse than denial. Okay, by those which strike fire, it means really they take furious attack. They really attack them. And also following the verse 3, rushing to assault at morning. Look at why it is at morning. And one thing that rushing to assaults, whenever they have a little bit that looks like true in the morning, apparent, that looks like true, put their argument on that truth, it may be true, one point, and deviate the truth and attack. For example, if you see the conflict between belief and science in this age, before also, but especially in this age, what they say, okay, do you believe? You say you believe in God, but do you have an iPhone? I invented it. So you attack me, but you use my product. Oh, how logical it is. Yeah. But I say, it is the mercy of my Creator who enabled the order for the human beings to make iPhones. So it is within the intention of the Creator, right? While he established order. Can you show me Can you show me any technological gadget which is not the result of using the already existing order of the universe? Can you do anything which is not within the order of the universe? Can you invent anything which is not within the order of the universe?
No.
Can you? So it is the, if you like, gift of my Creator. You are the one who carries it to me. Thank you for carrying it to me, but don't deny that it is a gift for me. You are only the vehicle, right? You study it, find out, thank you, but don't say that you owe thanks to me. No. You and I, both of us, have to be thankful to the creator of the order that we are benefiting from it. You carried it, for example, I will use the Quranic. It's a bad example, but it's a bit rude. You are like a donkey to carry the produces which is created by God to my home. Do you understand? No. Yes, no. It's a vehicle. But donkey is powerful and you are intelligent. Donkey carries the produce. You carry the hidden information in the order, within the order, and bring it out to me. You are doing the same thing. But what a human being expected to do, to accept that it is a gift of the one who established the order. So we both have to thank the originator of the order, creator of the order. Both. You have to, I have to. Right? And for example, if donkey brings the produce to your home, do you get angry with the donkey?
No.
No. Do you give some food? Yeah, some hay or sorry,
Reward.
some reward. Yeah, don't you? So we say thank you. I can give you hay or some reward, but the food that you carried and brought it to my house is the one who created the food. Donkey is not the creator. Farmer is not the creator. Scientist is not the creator. Right? What is already there, they bring to our usage. So I use the computer and I in a smartphone, I use it and I am saying, you idiot materialist scientists denying the reality and claiming the ownership of the order in the universe. It's so stupid. Don't do that. Donkey never claims that it is mine, but you do. That's why the Quran says you are worse than that. Isn't that very, very beautiful expression in the Quran? Yeah. أولئك أولئك هم كالأنعام بل هم أضل. Definitely, bel means in the Quran, definitely. But literally, if you look at the dictionary, it says perhaps. No. Bel hum adal, definitely, you are even worse. Because the donkey never claims that I produced the thing I brought to you. But you do. It's very bad. I'm sorry for them. They work, they are given the gift of the mercy of God, but they deny it, that it is given. They say, I invented it. You didn't invent it. You discovered it. Yeah? No one can invent anything. Oh, inventions, they say. Scientific inventions. Okay. Now, rushing to assault at morning, if they find what I understand from it. Yeah. Whenever they have something that they can stand on, as soon as they found it, for example, usually the critics of Muslim or Islam or the Quran or the believers, what do they say? Religion causes trouble, conflict. Yeah. For example, one of the, I think I mentioned this, it was so striking, so simple-mindedness. Well, one of the scientists, famous scientists, said in the, I think there was a court case somewhere in Pennsylvania, whether they can teach any belief tradition in science class. You might have heard of it or not. In Pennsylvania, it was a long court, and then they played a lot of tricks there. Anyways, they said, look, if we teach that the universe is created by God, so which kind of God I am going to present? Look at the defense. Christian God, Protestant God, Catholic God, yeah, Presbyterian God, Muslim God, Jewish God, Hindu God. It's better to be safe, to leave all of them aside, follow one thing. What is that? Evolution. Evolution. Why? Look at the reasoning. Because there are different understandings of God in different traditions. Okay. So let's not confuse the minds of the children. Make it one way, atheism. Well, is it a justification? Is the justification? Say God. Don't define it according to Christian tradition, according to Muslim tradition. Say it is created, it is prepared by an conscious creator. Say it. And don't define it according to different religious traditions and narrations. No. They justify it. Their intention is to find a right, seemingly reasonable, acceptable reason, and go further ahead in order to confirm their claim. The verse 4, thereby raising clouds of dust. By doing this in the assault, raising clouds of dust. What does it mean? You should know now.
Creating confusion.
Causing confusion, making excuses, ambiguous matters, going to, I don't know, into the villages of Bangladesh, Pakistan, or Turkey or Egypt, how the Muslim women treated there. They love it. They love it. If you want to get a PhD or master level study from Harvard, it is very easy. Just tell them, I'm worrying about the women right in Muslim world. I want to make a research on it. Oh, yeah, it is really true. What do you want? But I have no money to pay 65,000 a year. It's too much. And also I have no other income in order to continue my research. So I need stipend and also fee waiver it. They said, oh yeah, you don't have any income? Okay, of course, we take care of it. Well, what are you going to do? I'll go to Syria, for example, and a village there, how the Muslim women treated by their Muslim husbands. Yeah. You get admission, don't worry. Acceptance, straight away.
So, in order to internalize this example more,
Yeah.
instead of, externalizing it, I guess, can I say that the moment in which I grasp at some sort of justification or glimmer of truth and use that as a means to deceive myself or to deceive myself or to
Seize?
Deceive.
Deceive myself.
right, to deceive myself or to somehow justify something to myself,
Mhm.
I am raising clouds of dust
Mhm.
in a sense.
Yeah, for myself as
For
well.
myself, right,
Yeah.
because I need
So
to
make
look at
it ambiguous. We use it. Sometimes they use religious language as well. They say, "Oh, of course. I mean, some people will work in order to make the need or cover the needs of the family, and I'm not a religious expert. They don't study. No, so I will work and make money or make bread, if you like, for the family." But somebody else will do it, justify it, because they say working also is worship. Yeah, working also is worship. Well, it's not absolutely wrong, but working for what? How? Don't you have any time to sit and study half an hour, study the Quran for half an hour a day, for example? Or can you not go and listen to some people? For example, here we are having this discussion once a week for an hour and a half at the most, and maybe 2 hours traveling or trip back and forth. Okay, 3, at the most 4 hours a week. Can you not do that? Not only here, it's an example. There may be somewhere else. Some people are studying and you go and join them. Unfortunately, if they want to have social activity, they spend 10 hours to prepare the dinner. It is not much. Oh, it's an occasional, just my family members are coming or in-laws are coming. I have to entertain them. But when it comes to sitting and studying, it is very difficult. So this kind of excuses makes the difference between right and wrong ambiguous. Dust, clouds of dust. It means excuses, insults, finding out any way that they may be right. For example, they say most of the people's claim is religion caused a lot of war. Okay? Okay. Religion caused a lot of war. In which conditions? Religion is used even between, I don't want to name it. So, but we're not blaming one religious tradition and the other. Any study, any war which is declared or practiced or which took place in the name of religion, if you really go and see that politicians are exploiting religious feelings of the innocent people. Politicians. All the wars, for example, I can give the history that I know from Ottoman history. All the wars the Ottomans declared against Europe, European countries, were just the desire of the sultans. Nothing to do with the people. People didn't know what's going on. The sultan wanted to expand the land. That's it. It was authority. And of course, what they used, religious terms, religious slogans in the war. But the motive is not religious. People don't know. With all the motives, you can see that expansion of the land for the kings, sultans. We have to admit that. So if you study the Crusaders who organized them, religious leaders of that time were used by others. But these people are not really honest. They now are talking about the First World War, the Second World War, where 60 million people were killed. Where are they? What was the reason? Religion? Materialist, nationalistic pride, conflicting. I am superior to France, French people, or Germans are better than the French, British are better than the Germans, and economic conflict, benefit. We have to understand that these are all excuses. And these are the clouds of dust, making the truth ambiguous, not very clear. Plunging into the midst of the enemy. What does it mean? Attacking them with no hesitation in the middle of the enemy. It means here is what? If I choose a wrong way in the personal level now, at the personal level, if I want to follow my ambitions and my conscience reminds me that what I am doing is wrong, and what I do, just try to make it rejected straight away by using any kind of excuses. So it looks like a real war that I'm furious about not facing the truth in my own being, within my own being. You know that everything is going on between what? Ego and conscience. In the personal level. How about societal level, prophets and opponents of the prophets? So they are, do you want to say?
Yeah, I was just curious to know why, if essentially so far whatever's fighting is, for lack of a better term, the bad side, right? How come the term enemy is used towards the end? Like, why is?
I mean, this in the midst of the enemy, in parentheses. Of course, in this case, conscience is the enemy of egoistic choice.
Okay.
Yeah. So, according to him, I mean, there are two sides. According to side A, B is enemy. According to side B, A is enemy. It's so obvious. Now, all these interpretations, taking it away from physical terms and making it the theoretical level, now we will see the following verse. Okay. You read it now.
Oh, you have to change it there.
I see.
No, the other one.
This
Yeah.
one? This one?
Yeah.
Down.
Also, did you
Okay.
still want to stop at 8:15 or no?
What time is it?
You have 30 seconds.
We have time. Okay. Yes, we have 30 seconds. Okay, now let's stop here. Just bind the subject because it looks so abstract. Interpreting the verses, previous verses, is it so arbitrary? Just it's the verses are talking about battlefield. Verses are talking about the war horses. Why are we doing this ego, conscience, and the revelation, trying to kill the prophets, and also between the believing community and non-believing community, and why they are so furious? Believers are not there furious. Can you be furious if you are sure that what you are sure about your choice? I give the typical example. For example, there is no one who has stolen the very valuable things in the corridor. Okay? Suddenly 2 police or 5 policemen came and said that, okay, who took the things, that very valuable thing? Okay? Who took it here? Do you panic? 5 policemen came with the rifles or guns in their hand pointing to you. Do you panic?
Only if you stole it.
Only if you stop. So you say, these people are, I'm comfortable, I'm sure. No, I didn't do it. You don't panic. You don't panic. Of course, the scenery is not comfortable, but you don't panic. But if you have stolen it, definitely you cannot really hide from your face expression. Suddenly, if they find out. Yeah, if they find out. So, guilty psychology. So, the guilty appearance, it is inevitable. But you don't, if you are a believer, you will never have this first verses that we studied until 5, any panic, anything what they are doing here. Yeah, you don't attack, you don't assault, and plunge into the midst of the opposite side. No, you don't. As I see it. If you do it, it means you are not sure about your conviction or about your choice. You don't feel comfortable about it. So all this interpretation is suddenly changed. The following verses irrelevant to the previous ones, literally. Look at the following.
إن الإنسان لربه لكنود.
And who will read the translation? Come on.
Surely the human being is most ungrateful to his Lord.
Well, what is it to do with the previous descriptions? That's what the Orientalists love. It. Quran jumps from one subject to another, which has nothing to do in sequence at all. They love it. Look at this. The Quran was describing the war field, horses, assaulting in the midst of the enemy, etc., and striking fire of the horses. Now it says, surely the human being is most ungrateful to his Lord. What does it to do with it? It's a war scenario. Do you understand? It's not war scenario. Physical war. No, not at all. It is just being ungrateful to his Lord. That is why because they have not chosen to be grateful to the creator of their conscience, they get angry with the creator. Be careful here. They get angry with the creator who has created the conscience within themselves. Or at the society level, they get angry with the creator or the owner of the universe who has sent the prophet, declared the truth openly to the people with a verbal expression. They hate the creator because they don't want to obey it. They don't want to see that they are in contradiction in their choice. The way they use the free will in order to justify their egoistic excuses, ambitions, whatever you call them, carnal desires, all of them. But whatever the negative things, just because we do that, because we are not grateful to our Creator. We don't think that He has given me the criterion within myself through which I can make the distinction between right and wrong. It is with me. And also through the prophetic message, confirming what is within me, helping me to work out together, helping me that I will strengthen my free will to follow what my conscience really reminds me. It is an help center. The prophet institution is a help center for those people who want to quit drug or smoking addiction. Do you get it? They hate it. If, for example, if an what are they called? Come on, the word didn't come. They have gangs. Italians are famous. What are they called?
Mafias?
Mafia. If everybody knows it, except me. So, if you are a member or the leader of a drug mafia, okay, the more you want, the more people want drugs or whatever they are, heroines or I don't know, other stuff. They call nirvana or something. Not nirvana.
No,
Come
nirvana.
on,
Marijuana.
marijuana,
Well-
and they call it weed. So, so I'm very familiar with it because almost everybody uses it except these people here. Almost, yeah. Very widespread disease. Anyways, so let's say that very strong and effective help center for those people who are addicted to it. These mafia people. Do you think these mafia people will like this institution, this help center? That's why they don't like prophets. That's why they want to kill. The same thing. They want to justify themselves. You see the relationship between the previous apparently irrelevant subject to the following one. The human being is most ungrateful to his Lord. Then we have to understand that the Lord has outwardly employed the prophets to teach, to convey the truth to them, to remind them, and also inwardly creating the conscience, because they cannot kill conscience. Even they kill the prophet, but they cannot kill conscience. But the only way to kill conscience is to kill themselves. Yeah, that's why they commit suicide.
Well, sorry, you said
They
the
cannot bear it.
you said the only way to kill consciousness is to kill yourself, or is that their thinking?
Or they avoid to think, that's correct, but ultimately, if they want to really shut the conscious up, really, there's only one way. There is one way. Commit suicide and kill yourself.
Conscience or conscious?
No, conscience. Conscience. Yeah. Mostly, the Quran describes conscience as heart. yeah, where the belief takes place. في قلوبهم. So those people who don't want to obey their conscience, what they do, they corrupt their conscience, but still it is there. That's why the Quran says, في قلوبهم مرض فزادهم الله مرض. It's very, the Quranic expressions are beautiful. Anyways, I don't want to. So never forget that all the explanations so far, 5 verses prior to it, just to come to this conclusion that human being is most ungrateful to his own creator. Yeah? To his Lord, Rabbi. Rab means the owner of everything, including yourself, your body. Whatever the qualities, qualifications you have in your existence, the one who created is the Rab of it, owner of it, right? Administrator of it. I think you want to say something.
Yeah, I kind of like trying to summarize one point and also trying to see if I've got it right. So, when it says surely the human being is most ungrateful to his Lord, using the drug addict example, if I'm a drug addict as metaphorical for a situation I find myself in where, I'm doing something that I know that I should not be doing,
Yes.
right? So I can either go, I want to quit, so I could either go and attend the facilities that allow me
Yeah.
to recover, or I can also say, I wish I didn't feel uncomfortable with using these drugs. I wish it was just the way that it would be. I wish, like there's no reality in that. But I guess in that state, I would be ungrateful in the sense that I desire that my reality be something that it is not.
So reminder, yeah. Those people who don't want to be cured, that's their choice. Know that their conscience informs them, how do you say, continuously urges them, what you are doing is wrong, what you are doing is wrong. What do? They want to kill that one. And they get angry with the one who put this conscience within their own self.
So
That's
just
why I'm grateful to the Creator.
to add on to that, can there be like a middle ground where someone feels uncomfortable in the situation they find themselves in, but for whatever reason, they're like, my free will is too weak. I can't do this, or I can't quit, or something like that. In which case, they're not necessarily ungrateful. They're not denying that I'm in a bad situation. They're accepting that, but they're also not taking the initiative to recover.
Okay, that's their choice. But one thing is exceptional. If someone realizes that what they are doing is wrong from himself, not necessarily from a religious source, but says, please, God, the one who created my conscience, you remind me within myself, we will come there. We will come there. The verses will explain it. You remind me by putting the alarm, or how do you say, the red light alert within myself and reminding me what I'm doing is wrong, but I'm not following it. I'm sorry. That is asking for forgiveness. Yeah. That is the way to really save yourself from being an obstinate denier. It's a start. But if someone says, no, this is my tradition, this is my way of life, even in the religion, in religious case, this is my religion, they call it, this is Turkish religion, Iranian religion, Arab religion. You see, it's a very famous, Turkish religion is very famous, by the way. So they're horrible. It's a Turkish religion. Why? Because Turks used to be the leader of the Muslim world. The stupid sultans were crazy people, attacking everyone, helping no one. Helping no one. Yeah, they didn't teach any religion to anyone in the Western world. They say, oh, no, no, but there are some countries where the Muslims are, they are the ones who were sent to the Europe to support Sultan's administration. So they mixed up with the local people and became, settled down there. Like the immigrants come here and settle down here like that. So two, 3 generations later, these people here, the citizens of America, what did they say? We don't want immigrants. In America, who is not immigrant? Who is not immigrant? Those people who say that I don't want immigrant, he himself is immigrant, but 5 generations ago. That's it. He is an immigrant. He's the child of an immigrant. Like this one. Yet it's the reality. Anyways, we have to understand that those people there, some Muslim countries, there are populations are Muslim, Bosnians. They say, look, there are Bosnians, Muslim Bosnians, so they embraced Islam. They didn't embrace Islam. They were already from Anatolia and sent them as an administrators. They didn't help anybody. Just made them, they helped on one thing. One thing we have to understand. Make the Europeans hate Islam. Why? If somebody comes and invades your house, occupies your house and say that I'm going to administer this house, do you love him?
No.
Yeah? Do you love him? So what happened in Constantinople that time, now Istanbul? How it was conquered? Did they make the inhabitants of the Constantinople that time, Istanbul, Muslim? So they embraced Islam? Or what did they, how did they, not they say conquer, I don't think, it's an occupation. How did they occupy Istanbul? How? By cannonballs, breaking the city wall and getting into it and conquering it. What is that? Is it Islam? Is it Islam? And they say we Muslims are, the Turkish Muslims are the leader of the Muslim community because they really conquered many lands. They didn't conquer any heart. What do you think? It is a negative thing for the Muslim, for the religion of Islam. So we have to admit that this kind of claims or Turkish Islam, blah, 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 they make up the excuses. It is not a religious war at all. It is just political and, how do you say, economical war. Yeah, we have to know that the religion never causes. In fact, religious people may cause war, but religion never causes war because religion never attacks. Just the most, what a believer is expected to do, convey the message. Can you get into the house of a person? Yeah. Can you? And interfere into his family life in Islam? How do you invade their city or their country? How? Is it Islam? It is what Allah's religion is. Is it the way the prophets performed or delivered message? What the Quran keeps saying that on the prophet there is only one duty, which is convey the message. Yeah. وَمَا عَلَى الرَّسُولِ إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ. Sure, how many times the Quran repeats this? There is no responsibility, nothing as a duty on the prophets except conveying the message, making tabligh, that's called. Just telling them, letting them know if they listen. If they don't listen, as a Muslim, can you speak to a person, convey the most valuable message to a person who doesn't want to listen to you? According to Quranic teaching, if they listen, there are many verses. Yeah, we have to really seriously study the Quran, but carefully, not in the traditional way. Use your brain and understand that. Let's summarize and conclude it. Previous 5 verses must be understood in such a way that the verse 6 will make sense. Correct? If you like, you can go back, and it really makes sense. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم الحمد لله رب العالمين. برحمة السر